Hey everybody, welcome back to Tech Odyssey. So today I'm here to do a comparison video between two of the best Android tablets in the entire world. And that is last year's Samsung Galaxy Tab S6 and this year's Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 Plus. Both made by Samsung, both fantastic, both have a lot of good things going for them, and one really nice thing is that they have the stylus that comes with the price. So it's not like iPad where it's like, here, buy our expensive tablet, and then, oh, by the way, go buy our expensive our expensive Apple Pencil. So they're both very unique and interesting devices. They both work really well, and they both have a lot of things going for them that I'm going to talk about in this video. But before I get into all that, I do want to say if this is your first time stopping by the channel, I appreciate you being here. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. Now let's talk about the tablets. Okay, first things first, you can see here there are some fundamental differences between these two tabby boys. Tab S6, Tab S7 Plus. There is a tremendous size difference between these two tablets. I mean, there just is, and some people really like that. I happen to like the Tab S6 size a little bit better, but I can see why some people really like the Tab S7 Plus size. It is huge. It is great for productivity. It is great for gaming. It is great for drawing. It's really, really nice, and it competes directly with the iPad, the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. Whereas the Tab S6 of last year was the best and brightest that Samsung had. Even though it was a really good tablet, and it still is, it just didn't quite fill the same space. So you could do a direct comparison between the Android tablet and the Apple tablet. So, which one's better? That's really a subjective question, but if you want the latest and greatest, you want the bigger screen, then the Tab S7 Plus is going to be probably what you want to get. If you want something that's really, really good, costs less money, and gives you a lot of the same features and performance, and we're going to talk about the specs here in a second, this Tab S6 right here might still be good for you. And one thing I want to talk about real quick that I just want to address, the new Tab S7 Plus has a 9 millisecond response time on the stylus. You really can't tell any lag at all, but I tested it side by side with the Tab S6, and I really can't notice any difference at all. So if you have like a machine that's testing it side by side, yeah, maybe you can tell a difference, but to probably 99% of the world, you're not going to notice anything. So down to the brass tacks. What we have here, Tab S6, it's got a Snapdragon 855 in it, which was last year's basically flagship processor. They did come out with an 855 Plus, but it's not in here. This is just the 855. 6 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage. It has the S Pen, which I actually like this S Pen better than the newer one. It's slimmer, it's easier to hold on to, it's not as round. I don't know. Everybody likes different stuff, so maybe some people might like the new one, but I like this other S Pen style. They have the exact same cameras. They both have a 13 megapixel camera on the back and a 5 megapixel wide angle camera and 8 megapixel on the front. This is going to work great if you want to take pictures. You can do your portrait shots, you can use it for Zoom, you can use it for Duo, you can use it for Microsoft Teams, you can use it for whatever you want. It's a perfectly good camera on the front and the back, but you're going to look silly walking around taking pictures and doing video like that. So, yes, 10.4-inch screen. It's got an AMOLED display. And a lot of people, when I complained about the gigantic size of the Tab S7 Plus, were like, why didn't you get the Tab S7, bro? Why would you get the bigger one and then complain about it? Well, one, when I bought it, I didn't realize there was going to be that huge of a size difference. If you know anything about phones, if you know anything about tablets, bezels, aspect ratio, all sorts of things dictate the overall size of the screen. So you can have two different 12-inch screens and they can be fundamentally different. So taking it out of the box after having the Tab S6, I was like, man, this is a gigantic tablet, but I've still been using it anyway. The Tab S6 is more rounded. It is lighter. It's just under 1 pound. It's about 420 grams, so 454 grams in a pound. This is just underneath that, versus the Tab S7 Plus, which is a little bit over a pound. It's over 500 grams. 4 speakers on it. 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, so you can listen to it either way. You're holding it up in portrait mode, holding it in landscape mode. It works just fine. It has really good sound. In fact, I was testing out both of the tablets, and I actually like the way the sound is in the Tab S6 a little bit better than the Tab S7 Plus. But I think the reason is the sound on this sounds more focused. The vocals and the mids, I think, they stand out just a little bit more to me, and maybe some of the highs as well. And I think the reason is because there's just more space for the sound to fill and to kind of build up and all that good stuff inside of the Tab S7 Plus. It sounds more boomy. The bass seems a little bit better, but I think that kind of diminishes some of the other sound experience. Now, don't get me wrong, they both have really good sound, but I like the way the Tab S6 sounds just a skosh better. Both of them have AMOLED screens. Another point I was getting to with the Tab S7, the Tab S7 has an LCD screen. I don't want that. If you want a Tab S7 with a LCD screen, you go right ahead. It's not my cup of tea. I like AMOLEDs. I'm not going to pay $700 for a tablet that's got an LCD screen. So, Tab S6, AMOLED display, 10.5 inches versus the 12.4 inches on the new Tab S7 Plus. They both have UFS 3.0 storage. That means that they transfer data to the storage just as fast as each other. Now, this does have 18-watt charging, whereas you can get 45-watt charging with the Tab S7 Plus. So you can recharge the Tab S7 faster if you have the faster, higher wattage supported adapter. You can recharge it pretty darn quick, actually, when you go that route. But if you don't have a fast charger, the Tab S7 Plus takes forever if you don't have a super fast charger. This one has about a 7,000 milliamp battery. The Tab S7 Plus has just over a 10,000, but you're going to need it because you've got the additional 2 inches of screen real estate. And one big distinction between these two, the Tab S6 has a 60 Hz refresh rate versus the Tab S7 Plus has a 120 Hz refresh rate. I really like that. The enhanced refresh rate is really nice, but most people probably are not going to care. Most people won't even notice. My wife, I try and show her side by side all the time, and she's like, I don't see the difference. I can tell the difference. There is a tangible difference. It does eat up the battery, and I really got to say that this one right here, yes, it has a 10,000 milliamp battery, but I really don't find that I'm getting 14 to 15 hours of mixed use out of it. I feel like I pretty much need to charge it daily. Like I'll kind of use it at night, listen to some music, turn on a movie, and yeah, it goes through the battery pretty quick when you've got the high refresh rate on. But both of them have a beautiful screen. And the Tab S7 Plus, you're going to hear a lot of the same things here. 128 gigabytes of storage, the same. 6 gigabytes of RAM, the same. Both of them come in a 256 8 gigabyte option, but you got to pay more money. And the MSRP for the Tab S6 is still $649, but you can find deals on it places. $829 for this bad boy, and they have the same storage size. They have the same memory size. They have the same storage speed in it, UFS 3.0. They have the same cameras. The only thing that's really changed is there's a bigger screen on it. It has the newer processor, but don't let that fool you. There is a significant difference between the Tab S6 and the Tab S7 Plus in the power department. The Tab S7 Plus has the Snapdragon 865 Plus. It is the best Android processor in the world right now. It is super fast. 30% faster processor and graphics over the Tab S6. But can you tell the difference? No, you really can't. I mean, you just can't. I mean, maybe in some instances, but if you turn off the 120 Hz refresh rate that gives it that nice, smooth finish when you're moving in between things, and the nice, it feels like you've got a nice response time on it. Once you're doing whatever you're doing, you're really not going to notice much of a difference. It's like going from an iPhone XS to an 11. Yes, it is more powerful, but the way the operating system is and the way things work on it, you just don't notice that much. They both have DeX support, so you can get the desktop mode. It's cool. They both have the keyboard. Now, the keyboard is slightly improved on the Tab S7 Plus. It does seem to stay on better, too. It used to fall off my Tab S6 all the time, but it's got the little pins on the bottom that allow you to connect the tablet to the keyboard, which is nice. But of course, they don't stand up on their own if it's like in your lap. It has like that floppy little mesh that goes between the connector and the keyboard. So it's not like you can sit in bed and prop it up. The sucker's going to fall over. So I think, and it's not backlit either. So I think it's a little on the ill-conceived side. I think that Samsung needs to get their act together and make a legitimate tablet cover. Yes, it works good as a cover. It works okay as a keyboard when you have it propped up, but it's definitely not the best and the brightest, but it is the best option for the Samsung tablets, either way you go. And it's $230 for the keyboard for the Tab S7 Plus. It is freaking expensive. They both have an aluminum body. They are made really well. The construction quality is great. The build quality is great. The buttons are in identical places. They have essentially the same speakers, I think. They're AKG tuned. And like I said, these are probably the two best tablets. Like, I don't really recommend, unless you just, I don't know. I mean, if you want to get the Tab S7 and get a like basically 1-inch smaller screen than the Tab S7 Plus, but pay $700, go for it. But for most people, I would still recommend the Tab S6. The AMOLED display is nice. I think the battery life probably works out a little bit better, especially if you don't use 100. Like, if you're using 120 hertz refresh rate, I think that this is probably going to win out on the battery. But it is nice. If you don't care though, if you don't care about the refresh rate, if you don't want a really gigantic tablet, I would still recommend probably to go pick up the Tab S6, especially if you can find one on sale. It's a really good tablet. I love this one. It's nice. It's portable. It still feels like a tablet. This one feels like you ripped. It feels more like a Surface Pro than it does like a normal tablet. And hear me out. Tablets have always been kind of a go-between when it comes to phones and laptops. It's like, it's not quite that big and it's not quite that, unwieldy, but at the same time, if you're sitting around, if you're on a plane flight, if you're on the bus, if you're sitting down somewhere for a long time, you're in bed at night, you want something a little bit larger than having to sit there and peck at the little screen on your phone. To me, that's what tablets have been for. But then they came out with the Productivity Series tablets that are more like really a laptop that you can take the keyboard off of if you have the attachment. This is great for productivity, super powerful. Unfortunately, the Android apps still are not that great. The Samsung apps are good, but if it's not optimized for the tablet, it's basically still a phone app that they just stretch out to fill the screen. They're not optimized. You get the air gestures, you get all the cool stuff with the stylus. It's just like having a big Samsung Galaxy Note, but it's a giant tablet. I like both of them, and I like both of them for different reasons. And I decided, to go ahead and hang on to this one. I want to make some comparison videos, and I've got some plans for this one later. But if you want the really, really big tablet that is more powerful, of course it's going to last you a little bit longer. And as far as I know, there's going to be a 3-year software commitment to the new Tab S7 Plus and the new phones going forward. I don't know that that extends to the Tab S6. I don't think it's retroactive. And I have the Tab S6. It's still on One UI 2.1, but some people are saying you can get One UI 2.5. I just checked today and the software update is not available. This is running the latest and greatest One UI 2.5. It will get One UI 3 probably faster than this will. So I would expect software and support to be better and more long-term for the Tab S7 Plus. There is about a $200 price difference between them, but largely that $200 is not giving you a lot of extra function. It's just giving you a higher refresh rate and a bigger screen. And if you need it, the extra power, but the Snapdragon 855 is perfectly capable. This is a really good tablet. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it, and for most people, this is probably what I will recommend. If you get a good deal, if you get some trade-in stuff, I mean, Samsung was offering $450 trade-in towards this, so it made the price tag on the Tab S7 Plus very, very manageable. Yeah, this is the best and the brightest. It is the most powerful Android tablet that you can get. If you want to use it for business, if you want to do it for graphic design, if you want to use it as a laptop substitute, you can in very many ways. So this, I would say, is a pro tablet. I think it's in some ways on par with the iPad Pro. There's still kind of limits when it comes to like video editing and stuff. I don't necessarily recommend video editing on here. You can with Power Director. It's definitely not as robust as the iPad and what you get with LumaFusion. So if you want to do that, I suggest getting an iPad. But this one right here, perfect for media. It's great for playing Xbox games on with Xbox Game Pass, but you can do that with both. You can connect your Xbox controller to it, fire them up, and play your Xbox games through the cloud. So there is nothing on this one that you're really missing out on if you get this one. The biggest things that you need to know about, of course, faster refresh rate, which eats up your battery, which you can disable and turn it to 60 if you want. Larger screen, obviously, and the faster processor, which some people it might appeal to. If you were using a Tab S6, if you felt like it was slow and clunky, or if you use an older Android tablet and you just want the greatest, the fastest, the best, you use it for business, you use it for productivity tasks, then yeah, this right here, you probably are going to want to pick up, especially if you get a good deal. And the new stuff with Samsung always has good deals. I would expect that the prices will probably start dropping even more on the Tab S6 in the near future. And I saw a lot of stuff recently for like education discounts, bundles, and things like that. So if you can get one of these on like the $400 price range, I wouldn't even bat an eyelash and look at the Tab S7 Plus. But for tablet portability, for just laying in bed, using it, for having the casual experience, but still having the power, the performance, being able to use DeX, hooking up the keyboard case to it. This is good. But this right here is just going to take you to the next level if you feel like you just have to have the maximum experience and all the extra power and the larger screen. And the larger screen does make a big difference. I mean, look at this. There is a significant difference here, and you will notice it as soon as you take it out of the box, especially if you've been used to using a smaller tablet. This takes some getting used to. So that's all I've got on my review, my comparison between the Tab S6 and the Tab S7 Plus. Hopefully this has been helpful for you. Hopefully it's been insightful. Really, I didn't want to get down in the weeds too much on the specs as much, but I really wanted to hammer in talking about the size differences, talking about what you get, talking about what you're not really missing out on if you just want to get the Tab S6 versus the S7 Plus. There are legitimate reasons for buying both. They're both going to be very good moving forward, and I think they're the best and the brightest that Android brings to the table, and Samsung has a good vision for what they've done with the tablets. So I like them both. I think I've covered the bases, and hopefully this has been helpful. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down in the comments section. I'll get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.